There is one city that has arguably shaped the entire digital world more than any other, but almost nobody has heard of it. We're not talking about Silicon Valley, and we're not talking about Shenzhen. This is not a story about Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, and it's not about some giant metropolis. This is the story of the mere 7th largest city on a small island in Asia that, despite geopolitical problems and severe earthquakes, has somehow turned into the center of the world's most important industry. And exactly here is where I've spent the past few months, and the man we're talking about today is Morris Chang. Morris Chang's story sounds like 3 completely different lives smashed together. He was born in China in 1931 and had to constantly move around. Before he turned 18, he had to flee from 3 different wars, which could probably be a video in its own. Then after high school, his uncle who lived in the US helped him to attend college there, and he hustled so hard that he got a degree in mechanical engineering from MIT in just 2 years instead of the usual 3 before doing his master's, which I think he just did to flex on me because I'm in the 3rd year of a computer science master's that should only have been 2 years. After MIT, he somehow ended up with a job in electronics, despite being a mechanical engineer, so he quickly had to catch up. The crazy thing is, apparently one of his colleagues was a bit of an alcoholic and would hit the bar almost every day. So Morris just went there with his textbook every single night to ask him questions. There wasn't much else he could do because he studied something completely different and suddenly found himself working with semiconductors. Semiconductors are the most important thing to make a computer work. If you take a piece of plastic, for example, and connect a battery to it, we all know that electricity isn't going through that. But if we do it with copper, it can conduct that electricity super well. But we need something in the middle, something that can let electricity through, but doesn't have to. Ideally, a material where we can control if it is conductive or not. Kind of like a switch, on or off, 0 or 1. 6, 7, sorry. God. And the real magic happens when we take a flat piece of semiconductor material and by carefully modifying it, we can build transistors into it. Basically tiny switches, and modern chips contain billions of them. That's what semiconductors can do, which sounds surprisingly simple, but it's the hardest engineering problem in the world, and without it, computers would not exist. So, Morris Chang joins Texas Instruments, at that point, leaders in semiconductor technology. The problem around this time is that the state-of-the-art is based on germanium. Germanium is quite rare and expensive. What if we could just use something that is more common, like silicon? The second most abundant element on Earth after oxygen. It makes up 28% of the Earth's crust. So just when Morris Chang starts working at Texas Instruments, this transition to silicon is happening, and he finds clever ways to increase the abysmal yields they are facing when working with this completely new process. He quickly climbs the ranks at Texas Instruments and gets really close to becoming CEO. Nobody really knows why, but ultimately he never gets the job, and after 25 years at TI, he resigns. At this point, he's financially in a decent spot, and he's in his mid-50s and could basically just retire. But this is where Taiwan comes into play, a small island in Asia that at this point in the 80s is really only good at manufacturing stuff for cheap. American companies went here because labor was really affordable here. In the 80s, the government was trying to find a way out of their entire economy being based on cheap manual labor. So they started the Industrial Technology Research Institute and convinced Morris Chang to lead it. And a few years later, in 1987, he started the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, the now 7th largest company in the world. So how did Taiwan go from all of that to having the world's 5th largest stock market, despite only having a population of about 23 million people, recently overtaking India with almost 1.5 billion. Their entire population compared to India's is just a rounding error. Well, this brings us to modern day Taiwan, specifically the city of Hsinchu, where I have spent the past few months. This is Hsinchu Science Park. I know it doesn't look like it because it looks like I'm in a forest, but right behind me are a bunch of TSMC fabs. I'm actually surprised. This is like the greenest industrial park I've ever seen. There's flowers and trees and insects and birds everywhere. There's an ant on my camera. Wait. I'm in front of the TSMC Museum of Innovation, and right next to me is the Morris Chang building. I really should have thought about more things to say while I'm here. I walked all the way here. It took me about 1.5 hours. And it's very warm. I'm sweating a lot. But running around with a camera here is making me kind of nervous because I know all of this stuff is really, really important and they probably have a lot of security. And I don't want to get arrested. I swear I'm not a national security risk. I'm just a nerd, okay? Like, I'm gonna go. Despite it only being the 7th largest city on this island, with about 500,000 people, this is the undisputed center of the semiconductor industry, arguably the most important industry of the 21st century. Mobile computers like laptops were only possible because semiconductor companies were able to make processors more and more efficient. Smartphones were only possible because chips got even more efficient and powerful. Whatever device you are watching this video on right now, there is a high chance the processor in there was made by TSMC. You know when Apple switched their Macs from Intel to Apple Silicon? That's all TSMC. Most chips in Android phones, every single iPhone chip, they're all produced by TSMC. Nvidia, the most valuable company in the world, doesn't make their own chips. Again, that's TSMC. And the huge AI boom we are seeing right now is entirely dependent on the companies that are right here in the Hsinchu Science Park, which people like to call the Silicon Valley of Taiwan, but that's not really true, because in Silicon Valley, nobody is actually working with silicon. They design the chips and TSMC makes them. But that only really materialized over the past 20-ish years, which is why this city is so interesting to look at. You have these small alleyways with power lines snaking through apartment buildings that look like they just kept building units on top. When I came here for the first time, I was surprised how much it looks like Japan, which at that point was the only other country I had visited in Asia. But then, peeking through these narrow alleys, you have these giant 30-story buildings everywhere that now tower over the city. I've never been in a city that changes so much depending on which street you go down. You'll literally be walking through these super modern high-rise buildings with wide streets and modern chain stores, then turn a corner and feel like you just went back in time 40 years. It's really bizarre. But the craziest part is that everything you're seeing here right now, even the very road I'm standing on, was nothing but rice fields 20 years ago. That's actually insane, and I don't think anything else is as representative of the immense and sudden importance the semiconductor industry has gotten over the past few decades. Okay, so over here we have Zhubei. I'm not entirely sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly because my Chinese is absolutely abysmal. And there's a river here, so Zhubei and Hsinchu kind of belong together, but they also don't really, because this river keeps them apart. And you can see also there are a bunch of really like modern apartment high-rise buildings here and offices and stuff like that. It's really interesting to see because you just have these old traditional homes that have been there for probably a few decades right next to all of these super modern high-rise buildings that, yeah, most of them were built in the last 10, 15, 20 years. Taiwan went from being in kind of a dead end, manufacturing cheap stuff for richer countries, to being the absolute best in something the entire modern world depends on. But it was not obvious that was going to happen. In 1987, when Morris Chang had the idea for TSMC, just finding the money to start took some serious convincing. Basically, the government went to all the richest families in Taiwan and tried to convince them. In the end, the government gave about 50% of the funding, and the rest came from various investors, most notably Philips. This was a big gamble, because saying you want to make computer chips is easy, but actually building a fab, optimizing and catching up to the other companies can easily take 10 plus years. But the shocking part is, when TSMC was founded, Morris Chang owned 0% of the company. He was working for a government non-profit and got zero equity in TSMC. He literally had to spend years using his own salary to buy TSMC shares, but he had a vision and he stuck with it. During his time at Texas Instruments, he saw that there were a lot of engineers that had great ideas, but there was absolutely no way they could ever start their own company because they were missing the infrastructure and money. There is absolutely no way somebody could just quit their job and convince investors by saying, "So, I have this really good idea. Why don't you give me all of your money and wait 10 years until we have a working fab and can actually try to make my idea work?" Morris Chang saw there were a bunch of people with super smart ideas that had absolutely no way of turning those ideas into reality. And one of those companies was Nvidia. By the way, Jensen Huang, the founder and CEO of Nvidia, born in Taiwan. Nvidia was founded in a Denny's over breakfast with $600 of initial capital, and they almost went bankrupt so often in the first few years that they developed the unofficial company motto, "We are 30 days away from going out of business." These are the people that needed TSMC, and TSMC needed them, because TSMC doesn't design chips. All they do is take a company's design and manufacture it. In a way, they are the world's most successful freelancer, because while Apple, Qualcomm, and MediaTek are fighting for the smartphone market, TSMC is just sitting back, making the chips for all of them anyways. But the crazy thing is, when I say they only manufacture chips, I mean they only do that. They don't even make the machines that are used for manufacturing. That's kind of weird, right? So all they do is buy the machines and then use them? I could do that. How is it possible that they make over 90% of the world's cutting edge chips if anybody could buy the machines and do the same? Well, when you realize that making computer chips is the hardest engineering problem in the entire world, it starts to make sense. A chip starts with a silicon wafer, basically an unbelievably pure flat disk of silicon. Then you build patterns into it with a bunch of different techniques like lithography, for example. And the patterns are tiny. We're talking about structures so small that the wavelength of normal visible light is way too big to draw them. These transistors are made on a scale so unbelievably small that quantum physics start to play a role. For the most advanced chips, companies use EUV lithography, where tiny droplets of molten tin are hit mid-air by lasers to create extreme ultraviolet light. That light bounces through some of the flattest mirrors humans have ever made. This sounds like the craziest trick shot of the century, but they actually do this 50,000 times per second. Like, what? It's completely nuts. It's really hard to wrap your brain around. The fact that humans have managed to do this process, not just effectively, but at scale and without losing a ton of money, is crazy to me. TSMC has many different equipment suppliers, but these EUV lithography machines are made by a Dutch company called ASML. They cost about $200 million, and it takes 4 planes to transport just one single machine. Over the past few decades, TSMC has pushed past every other company making chips, so at the leading edge, it's only TSMC with Samsung and Intel trailing behind. It really looks like they have unstoppable momentum, even though they are only a manufacturer. Of course, ASML could sell you the lithography machine, but they can't sell you the 30 years of process recipes, yield data, engineering experience, supplier coordination, the ability to ramp up a new node to millions of working chips, and the decades of trust they have built with the biggest companies in the world. And almost nobody has the cash flow necessary to do this type of stuff. Just across last year and this year, TSMC is spending almost $100 billion on new factories and equipment. That's about as much as the entirety of Intel was worth in 2025. They are spending incomprehensible amounts of money that other companies just don't have. But there is one fact that makes this entire story almost absurd. Taiwan is not exactly the easiest place to build the world's most delicate factories. It sits in one of the most seismically active regions on Earth. Earthquakes are just a regular thing here. I'm from Germany. We don't have earthquakes. The closest thing we have is your drunk uncle falling out of a chair. When I experienced my first earthquake in my life a few months ago, it was so weird because I was sitting right here in this very chair, and literally for like a very brief moment, like 2 seconds, it felt like the building beneath me was moving like a liquid. It was very surreal. I was like, what is happening? I was looking at my chocolate milk, like, what the hell did I just drink? You might think that sounds like a terrible idea for doing trick shots with lasers through tiny drops of tin, and yes, you would be right in thinking that. The entire process depends on crazy precision, but they just got really good at dealing with it over time. The fabs are built with earthquake resilience in mind. After a major earthquake, TSMC can often inspect, recover, and restart incredibly quickly. Making these chips is already like bending physics, so they're not gonna let a little detail like the entire ground moving stop them. I think this sheer tenacity was always in Morris Chang's DNA. He led the company until he was 74, stepped down as CEO, then 4 years later he gets re-elected as CEO and continued on until he was 86. Absolutely incredible. He pulled this this company from being nothing but a dream and a huge gamble to being the most important company in the most important industry of the 21st century. TSMC has so much momentum that if you want to be at the cutting edge of technology, there is no way around them. But that also means that the entirety of the AI boom and all leading edge technology is dependent on them, leading to a real bottleneck. TSMC already said they are at maximum capacity, and it takes years to get new fabs up and running. And all of this is made a lot worse when you realize that this is, let's say, geopolitically quite a difficult area. The most notable example of that is the fact that all of TSMC's EUV machines are equipped with a remote self-destruct in case of an invasion. I really hope it doesn't happen. But if there is one thing that could trigger World War III, the chance that the catalyst is everything sitting right here is quite high. What makes Hsinchu so strange to me is that it doesn't feel like the center of the world. It doesn't feel like a place that is deciding the future of AI, smartphones, laptops, cars, and the entire digital future. It mostly feels like a normal Taiwanese city. When I'm walking through the city, I'm usually focused on trying to survive the scooters everywhere, and there's old apartment buildings, bubble tea shops, and then there are these incredibly large fabs, which again don't feel like some of the world's most important infrastructure at all. And somehow there's more nature around there than any apartment I've ever lived in. But I guess that's just what the modern world is like. On the inside, they are doing the most advanced engineering humanity has ever done, and on the outside, it's just a boring building, almost invisible, until you realize the entire world depends on them. Morris Chang's real contribution wasn't just making a company, it was building the missing layer between ideas and reality. Without TSMC, Nvidia is just a design company. Apple Silicon is just a cool blueprint, and the entire AI boom is just an abstract idea. And somehow it all runs through this relatively small and inconspicuous city. I'm just waiting for the British people to comment, "It's not chips, they're called crisps."